Hi you guys, welcome to the weekly intuitive card reading for September 30th through October 6th. You guys know the drill. Like this video, please subscribe to this channel. Please share this video with anyone that needs to hear the weekly energies. What else, you guys? Sorry, this is so bad. I was trying to get the camera angle pretty decent, but I'm trying my best. Okay, what else? Comments down below. Let me know how it's resonating with you. Love to see it. And not the same three decks. I actually put in the Oracle of the Universe, which I've used before, but I swapped it out, just feeling like I should. Always listen to my intuition on this. And we have the Archetype deck. We have the Wisdom of the Oracle, shuffled, of course. Different order. Okay. Guys, let's just jump right into it. Let's see what we need for the week. Limitless. Okay, so we need to feel like we're not being restrictive. Okay, that's the first thing that's coming through here. It's saying like we really need to, it's also about identifying our power, which if you guys saw the monthly, October monthly reading, there's definitely a lot of stuff about getting into our power, but using that power correctly, but that's not necessarily what's coming through here. It's just saying that we really need to feel like we don't have limits. We actually also got that liberation card in last week. I remember it was under a change. We're starting to feel more free. And so we are starting to feel more free, but we really need to really start embodying that energy is like a good way to put it. Like we really need to make sure that the limitations that are set on ourselves, from ourselves, really need to be kind of, like we don't have to be so uptight. I feel like I need to say this, and some people need to hear it out there, obviously. You don't have to be so uptight. You don't have to be so serious anymore. Is the best way to put it. So there is some lighthearted energy kind of coming through with that, but this is about breaking barriers. We really need to break barriers. So the other thing too is if somebody's telling you that you can't do something, that's really going to rile you up this week, I'll tell you. I mean, that riles me up at any point, but it's really going to rile you up this week. Let's put it that way. So I wonder how that manifests for you guys. Again, put it down below. I'd love to see. Action needed. We have time for a nap. Okay. What do we need to do? Take a nap. So this is saying take a break, take a breather. There's actually not too much more I could say about this because it's really just saying like, if things have been too crazy for you, take a break, take a nap, slow down, that kind of thing. And so just don't forget to do that. We'll see if this makes, I feel like I need to pull more cards to see if that makes sense and we can tie it into the other energies, but so far, it looks like we really need to just chill, okay? So there's not too much more I can say about that. Let's see what issues we have. Watch it be being too busy. Okay, orphan child. Feelings of abandonment that stifle maturation, seeking inappropriate surrogate families. Okay, so this is about following the crowd. Okay, this is about following the crowd, not necessarily attending to our uniqueness, our individuality. And so we're having issues doing that. So we're having issues finding that identity. Okay, and so I sound like my mother actually. Yeah, when I was younger, like don't fall into the wrong crowd, you know. And if you guys out there are parents, you know, you say that to people, you know, who you hang out with is really predictable as to how your life is going to turn out, or energetically, they say the 5 people that you hang out with the most is really who you become and the habits you adapt, etc., etc. Oh, excuse me. And so this is kind of giving that energy. Okay, so we have an issue with that, and so it definitely does feel like this week we're going to be kind of pulled in a direction of being with a group that we know is not necessarily good for us. Could be a person too. It might be romantic as well. However that resonates with you guys, but we might be pulled somewhere into a direction. Because we want to feel included, we want to feel not so alone, we want to feel like we matter, okay? It's almost like, I almost want to say, don't be pulled into a cult or a cult-like type situation. I know that's like really, this feels a little bit more minor. A cult is something really kind of major, I would consider, and that's how I would interpret the energies, but it's saying just, really just try to pay attention and hold on to that individuality and just use your discernment when it comes to stuff like that, to groups that might not actually align with where you're going or what you want, or are good for you at all. Challenge. What do we have? Music. Okay, so to me, it's not necessarily specifically music, but it's about the creative arts. It's about things that move you, and so we're having a challenge really connecting to that. So we're having a challenge connecting to the creative arts in some way, shape, or form. If you're an artist, that's not the greatest news, because you might, maybe you have writer's block, maybe you can't find your muse or whatever it actually is. I'm clearly not an artist, but you're definitely having challenges in that way of connecting. But it'll pass. I feel like I need to say that it'll pass. Just this week it feels odd. So if you're thinking about, picking up on the book that you're writing or something like that, don't worry if it's a week where you don't have that many ideas or you don't feel as creative. It'll pass. It'll pass. I feel like I need to say that. Okay, what's changing? Not for you. Okay, so this is basically saying you're letting go of things that are not for you. You're deciding what's not for you. We have that letting go. Sorry, spoiler alert. If you guys didn't see the monthly, we have that energy for October. So this is pretty much. I know it starts September 30th, but there's some October in here. I don't want to say the first full week of October because that's not necessarily accurate, but it is. It's mostly this week is mostly in October. So we are realizing what's not for us, and things that are not for us are falling off. The things that are not for us we're letting go of, and we're realizing also that the things that that we get rejected from are really positive things because they just weren't not for you, and they just weren't not for us. And I think you're getting a lot of peace around that. I will say that. What else we got? What do we need to focus on? You have Prince in the shadow. He's powering for yourself. Okay. Focusing on I guess this is similar to, not exactly in the same category, but the God archetype, where we are not using our power for positive things. So we need to really focus on, if we have this newfound power, why aren't we using it for, make sure we're not using it for the wrong things, quote unquote wrong things, or I'll put it this way, things that do not move you forward. I will put that there. Things that are not intentional to you. And so we're not necessarily just using our power in the way that we can, that will really make our lives better and better lives of others, and a better life for others. So thanks for dealing with me with that, because that was a hard one. But again, it doesn't necessarily feel similar to the God type archetype, but that's really what it is. But somewhat similar. But so focus on what you can do with your power that is more intentional. That's the best way you can kind of put it. Questions down below if that doesn't make the best sense, and I very much acknowledge that might not. Okay, what do we need to reflect on? Love. I love this. Okay, so we need to reflect on love in general, super general. It could be romantic love, could be friend love, could be parental love, could be loving your kids, that kind of thing. Loving yourself. So reflect on the bigger questions about how you want to move forward, and how maybe you have in the past, because sometimes looking back at the past can really help us dictate what kind of future we want in the love department. So if you haven't dated in a really long time and you're thinking about introducing romantic love into your life, then you might want to think about, what does that look like for you? What's important to you? What does love look like? Is it respect? Is it admiration? Is it empathy? Is it compassion? What is it to you? And just really figuring that out, okay? I will say this, pick the love that, again, doesn't have to be romantic love, but although I am getting pulled in that direction a little bit more, but we are reading for the collective here, so it might be different. for everybody, for each of you guys, but really pick that love and really dissect it. Like, don't be afraid to go deep is what Spirit is saying here. Responsibilities to the sea. Okay, so this is about flow. Yay! We always love when a flow card comes in because then things get a little bit easier. Things get less volatile. Okay, things get less chaotic. And we like that. Okay, things get easier. Things just appear. Right? Things just come into our life. Opportunities just come into our life. The right people at the right time. Okay, so our responsibilities are to look out for the synchronicities, the flow, the things that do that make our lives easier. So that is our only responsibility. Well, not maybe our only, you know, again, some of you guys take care of kids and grandparents and things like that, pets. But basically it's saying, you know, look for the things that flow. Look for the things that flow. Pay attention to the things that flow. Money, finances, and career. What do we got going on here? We have Adonis. Oh, I think we actually got this not last week, but the week before maybe. Pursues pleasure to the detriment of health, indulges at the expense of others. Guys, when are we going to learn? When are we going to learn? And I believe it was actually in this exact slot. Money, finances, and career. If we get too crazy in any of our addictions, in any of our pleasures or anything like that, we go overboard with things that really bring us joy. Guys, there's a light and a shadow to everything. That includes, I always give this example, and it's right here, it's love. And maybe this is something that you might want to think about. Love addiction. That is a huge thing. That is a thing. Okay? Maybe some of you guys would argue, well, then that's not really love when it gets to that point. Okay, I could probably give that to you. But we can overdo anything. It's all about moderation. You ever hear that? Especially when it comes to food, you know, healthy lifestyle, that kind of thing. It's kind of the same here. It's saying don't go overboard. Do not go overboard with your pleasures. Watch out for addictions or indulgences this week. Okay, don't, maybe you have a friend visiting and I know for me, I live in New York City. And sometimes when I have people come to New York City and they want to hang out in Times Square where they charge you like $40 for a burger or, like all of these crazy things price-wise. And all of a sudden, at the end of the week, you spent an extra $2,000 and you can't pay your rent next month. That's what we're talking about here with Hedonist. Okay, there's nothing wrong with seeking pleasure. There's nothing wrong with treating yourself, and we've gotten a few energies about that. And there's nothing wrong about being joyful and enjoying your vacation. This is basically saying use moderation, okay? And so we're not talking about a vacation. I mean, we're not specifically talking about vacations, but it does have something to do with money, finance, and career. So just don't overdo it. Use moderation and interpret that how you guys interpret that. Again, it's going to be different for everybody. Surprise. What do we have? A surprise. Surprise kingdom. Okay, so this is about being a leader. We haven't gotten an energy like this in a while. So surprise, you're going to find yourself in a leadership position that maybe you didn't think about. Maybe you weren't supposed to have the kids this week, but all of a sudden you do. Something happened with co-parenting or something, and now you have the kids, and now you have to be a leader. Not to say so maybe that wasn't the greatest example, but like it's a way of being headstrong, right? It's a way, guys, I don't have kids, can you tell? It's basically stepping, like if you didn't have the kids, you thought that you could be like a little bit more lax, a little bit more irresponsible, a little bit more, doing whatever you want kind of thing. And this is basically saying, nope, you're going back into that, that Leo energy, that lion energy. Maybe that was a bad example. Maybe your manager is going on maternity leave, and all of a sudden they want you to head the department. Surprise! Okay, that's maybe a better one. But it can fit in all different kinds of ways, but you're going to have to step up in some way, shape, or form. And I will tell you, it's a reluctant stepping up. Okay? So, again, for most of you, might be different for some people. Maybe you'll welcome it, whatever. But it feels like a reluctant, but it's definitely a surprise for a lot of you guys. Definitely, because it's coming through the surprise slot here. But we're going to have to step up in one way or another. This could be, here, another example just popped into my head. Don't you love my little examples? Unexpectedly, you live with 3 people and your third roommate moves out without any notice. And all of a sudden, you have to take over, you and your other roommate need to figure out how to come up with their portion of the rent. Okay? Surprise! You're in charge. Okay, so you got to get that rent to the landlord in some way, shape, or form. It's a really sucky thing for the roommate to do, but it is what it is. So in some way you have to step up. And like I said, it feels like reluctantly stepping up, but something happens where you need to step up. Okay, friends, what do we got going on? Milk and honey, bittersweet energy. So mostly positive communications, relations with friends this week, but there is some bittersweet energy going on. An example for me, I'm giving another example, is I was scrolling social media as I usually do, that I have been doing when you're sick. Can't do too much else, but you see like a friend from high school get married. I saw a friend get married from high school, and I wasn't invited to the wedding. Rightfully so. We haven't been close in like years or something like that, but I'm glad that they got married, but I'm also sad that, and maybe a little bit of her didn't keep up the relationship or whatever. That to me is like bittersweet energy. So I'm kind of like reflecting on it. I could see it going through this week as well, because again, spoiler alert, in our October reading, our monthly, there is some energy there about really being more intentional with friends, planning things with friends, like making them a part of your life, actually being intentional about it. And so I both of them resonate to me in that way, is that if you really want to keep up friendships, you have to be deliberate about it. You have to be focused on it. You have to want it. And so there's some bittersweet energy. That was my example. Could be different for everybody as far as like the bittersweet things go, but I will say it's more on the sweet end. So so more positive things happening within our friendships is the best way I can say it. Romantic connection, we have wounded child. We had orphan child, now we have wounded child. Blames all dysfunctional relationships on childhood wounds, resists moving on through forgiveness. Interesting. Okay, how do I say this in the best way? And it's, okay, let me just say it this way, guys. We're gonna be triggered this week in our romantic connections. Okay? So, and I love that this comes up. I love that love came up in the reflect, because I really think that these two are connected here, because this is saying, look at our wounds from childhood and see how they are dysfunctional and toxic within your romantic connections. And you will be triggered by them this week because they are coming to fruition. Okay, so this makes more sense to me now that we're reflecting on that. And like I said, I'm leaning a little bit more towards romantic. Yeah, for a lot of you guys, our childhood wounds are going to be triggered through our romantic connections. I don't guarantee anything, but I almost said I can almost guarantee it, but I'm telling you, 99% of you guys out there are going to feel this. Okay, so, but it's in the shadow. So there's something here with us. Let's remember that, and by the way, guys, I'm not talking about abusive relationships. I'm not talking about toxic relationships in that way. Okay, when I say toxic, I usually mean, I know I use it like pretty interchangeably, but I just want to be very clear. I don't mean abusive relationships. I mean ones that are dysfunctional, chaotic, a little volatile, where you still have the power. Nobody's like a sociopath, okay? Where you both, as long as you learn the tools and the communication, and you have the awareness, and you have the empathy, and you have all these tools for a positive, loving relationship, that you guys can, that means that you guys can work on it. But this is saying you might be resisting working on it because you don't have the forgiveness piece, you don't have the compassion piece. There's something missing where you don't necessarily want to move on. And another way to say this is your partner is not responsible for your triggers, and vice versa. You are not responsible for healing your partner's triggers either. And so your responsibility for your own healing. And that's what it's saying here. So whether it's you or whether it's your partner or whatever's kind of going on, but it definitely does feel like our childhood stuff is definitely coming up this week to be healed. Okay, so childhood stuff coming up, being triggered through romantic relationships. So just make sure that you're keeping yourself in check is basically what Spirit is saying here in the shadow. It says keep yourself in check. Make sure you see things from all angles, and make sure you are you're not using it as like an excuse to sabotage the relationship. That's a good way to put it. So yeah, not too much more I can say about that. That's not great, but when I say not great, meaning like this feels like it's not something, like I mentioned, it's something that could be healed. You can heal through it, right? So when I say not great, I mean like it's not going to be smooth sailing. Didn't I just mention to the sea there's more flow, etc., etc.? So find the flow. There's going to be no real flow here. All right, it's going to be a little manic, all right, in your romantic connection. So as long as you're prepared for that, look, that's why, and I like that it's next to the milk and honey because of the bittersweet energy, because it's kind of like saying not all relationships are going to be roses and butterflies and unicorns. Okay, so I like that it's actually next to each other because it's basically saying like, if you want a healthy relationship, you have to have uncomfortable conversations. I don't care what anybody says. That's what happens. That's what you do. So when I say it's not great, I mean like if you guys are, I think like maybe last week we got like, the passion card or something like that. Like it's not like, it's not smooth sailing. Let's just put it that way. All right, I think you guys get it. All right, what do we have here? We have consequences. If it's not the consequences of our own actions. All right, it's important, guys, that we understand that the decisions that we make have consequences. Something tells me we might make a decision this week that we need to really, really think about and be deliberate about. Here's where I feel like time for a nap might come in. Okay, it feels like these might be connected. It's okay to pause where something needs to be taken action on and need more time. Okay, because it's really important to understand the consequences of the decisions that we're making. So definitely does feel like there might be a decision coming up this week, and do whatever your intuition tells you, guys. I always have the disclaimer. However, I'm feeling like Spirit is asking you to say you just need to make sure you have enough time to make that decision and really understand the consequences of all of the decisions that you're, of the outcome of the decisions that you might make. So if you need to ask for time, if there's a deadline or something like that coming to you, coming towards you, you might want to ask for more time. Might be a deadline at work, might be an ultimatum from a romantic partner. I don't know. But I definitely do feel like might be a financial decision. You need to really weigh all of the consequences and options that you have. Okay, so I don't know if I could say that enough. I think you guys get it. Think about your consequences. It's so important. It's under important. So delay. Take actions to delay a decision if you can. Ask for more time, whatever it actually is. So a continuation, whatever. Ask for, if you're in school and it's a project or something and it's really, really important to your grade and you feel like you didn't do a really great job, this would be kind of signaling, maybe you need more time on it, etc., etc. I don't know, guys. I think I might be tapped out on all of my examples so far, but it's okay to ask for more time. I feel like we need to hear that. Okay, health and wellness. We have Imagine. Ooh, we had Imagine in the monthly. Again, another spoiler. Sorry, guys. I hope you watched it before you watch this. But Imagine is actually, most people probably won't, because I'm not sure when, at this point of recording, I'm not sure when I'm going to post it. But anyway, Imagine is visualizing, looking towards the future, imagining a future that you want, really being able to play the archetype in your own mind. Architect in your own mind. It's under health and wellness. So what do you see for your mental health? What do you see for your spiritual health? What do you see for your physical health? I love that the moons are pretty similar here. So this is about planning ahead. I see this as a really positive thing under health, because that means that you're at a place, I've spoken about survival mode before. I know all of us have been in there at one point in our lives, because I know everybody, you do not escape this world without some kind of suffering of some kind. is that that you're actually able to move forward. That is so positive. That is so amazing. So you can now start planning ahead. When you're in survival mode, you just make sure you get through every day as possible, as fast as possible. You try to get through every day doing the best that you can. That's the motto. You don't think about 6 months from now. You don't actually get to plan anything. You just are surviving. Okay, so this is telling me that things are shifting there, and that's super, super great. Overall outcome. Thief, upside down, stealing money, creative ideas, affection, or other powers you think you lack. Okay, so we've gotten the Thief, I think, 2 weeks ago or so. But basically this is about taking other people's creative ideas. That's very interesting because I said we're blocked up there with our creative ideas. And it's very, very challenging for us. So I do want to say that this in the shadow is basically saying, like, you don't have to resort to emulating or copying somebody's work. You have to really seek your individuality, right? We have issues with individuality this week as well. And really focus on how do I say this? I actually like that word, wealth. I'm going to use it. Knowing that you can create your own abundance and your own wealth. And I don't mean money. I mean, I can mean money, but it doesn't have to mean money. It means that we don't have to take from others. You don't have to rely on others. You don't have to have other people lead you, right? Maybe this leadership energy is going to be a positive thing. Like I said, I feel it's reluctant. I feel like we're reluctant, but it's going to show you how much you can lead, how much you can do things for yourself, okay? And so do not resort to taking from others or looking outside of yourself for your own power, wealth, and abundance, because you can do it, and this block is just temporary. I already said that when I read it up there. So don't be a thief. Don't be a thief. You need to, well, going back to this one up here, limitless, you need to break through the glass ceiling. I don't know if I used that phrase before, but that really kind of feels pretty good. That feels pretty similar to the energy that's kind of coming through. You have no limits. You are becoming more liberated. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it on your own, and you can do it being yourself, and you can do it as creative as you want, and you can come up with the ideas on your own, etc., etc. So there's a little bit of some independent stuff kind of coming out here, interdependent stuff. I love that. There's not too much more I can say about that, but I think there's a learning lesson this week about really coming into our own, and I love it. All right, guys, that's it for the week. I think it's a positive week. Like I said, we're going to be triggered right here. There's a couple of blocks up there. And other than that, I feel good about this week. So everybody have a wonderful week. And again, comments down below. I love reading them. And I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.